Hello, and welcome back to Sunshine Strategies Radio. My name is Jen McMillan, founder of Sunshine Strategies, a nonprofit consulting agency that works with communities to support families through innovation, collaboration, and hard work. Now, you might know me from when I ran a campaign for Illinois State Rep in 2018, or you might know me from my work in Central Illinois for nonprofits like Lincoln College or Minnie O'Byrne Crisis Nursery. Or you might know me as Charlie's mom and Lizzo's mom, because Charlie was my co host when we started this podcast as Kids Political Radio. But however you know me, or however you found this podcast, thank you so much. In my free time, I've been working on developing Sunshine Strategies as an organization to tackle big, complicated problems on behalf of kids and families instead of on behalf of a business, nonprofit, or a specific issue. Here, I share the work I'm doing, including an exciting update about Project Taphophile that's coming soon. That is a proposal to repurpose older cemeteries in the state of Illinois. I'm waiting on an okay from one state agency before I use their title, though. A large part of my work is political, with the little p. So I have had quite a few thoughts on the 2024 election. And I've managed to keep most of them quiet. But for the last couple of days, I've felt the need to really write about it. So I took some time earlier today and did that. So today's episode of Sunshine Strategies Radio is simply my response to the election results that we all received this morning. Please know that even if your heart hurts today, it continues to beat. And if you refuse to accept the current climate, ask me how you can get involved at a level that fits your lifestyle. I'm not saying you got to run for Congress, but I want you to show up for your township meeting or your school board meeting, or maybe run for city council. And with that, let's jump into it. And 8 years later, he was reelected. Yesterday, unlike 8 years ago, I didn't put on my pantsuit and pearls. When someone asked me yesterday morning for any bold election predictions, I didn't share my true thoughts. I knew he was going to win. I had a brief moment of hope when Tim Walz was selected to run with Vice President Harris, because I felt the Democratic Party had finally heard us, that rural Americans feel abandoned, that Rust Belt cities feel abandoned. But as I watched as we devolved into arguments about Gaza, the economy, and basic human rights, I knew we'd lost again. No amount of momentum was going to overcome 70 years of distrust in the American ruling class. Today is much different for me than it was 8 years ago. Back then, on that day, I dedicated myself to trying to fix my party, the only party seemingly to be operational, the Democratic Party. I hated so much about the Democratic Party. Mike Madigan, gerrymandering, haggling, lobbying. But instead of throwing a tantrum like my Eastern Bloc Republican friends down south, I decided that day to join my party and to change it. It's taken many years and a lot of personal growth to realize that instead, they changed me. After many candidate and political trainings, conferences, dinners, fundraisers, I realized far too late that I was being polished to fit into the Democratic Party elite's plans. They saw potential in me to either help or harm, and decided to help polish up my rough edges to make me more electable. This is all very rich, considering that in actuality, the only plan either political party is holding on to power for power's sake. The Democrats rallied the troops to win again, but again had no real plan. There's a lingering waft of let's return to normalcy through the last months of this campaign. But when was it ever normal? Or rather, when were things in America actually going well overall? Was it when Bill Clinton was president and helped corporations with their exodus after NAFTA? Or was it more recently, when Barack Obama said that we needed hope and change? I was there in Springfield on that day too, and I was devastated when even he wasn't able to make any substantial change. So, what do I do now? What do we do now? For me, yesterday felt like America was visiting a dying relative, congregating at the polling places to reminisce and pray for change one last time. And at 5 a.m. this morning, I was awake when the time of death arrived. Yesterday, I thought the death was for the Republican Party. I went to sit on the banks of Abraham Lincoln's Sangamon River here in Decatur to mourn with him. I hope he enjoyed his share of the libations. But I think I was wrong, though. I think yesterday was the death of the current American party system. Between the grand old party being reanimated as Trumpism and the Democrats refusing to listen to primary voters over and over again, not to mention those of us that live outside of population centers, both parties, in my opinion, have lost their meaning and their purpose. Neither party is willing to truly do what is needed to actually solve problems, nor even talk about it with an opposing party without hateful words. The system is broken, and it's so broken, I don't think we can fix it within our current boundaries. Does that mean revolution? Does that mean we allow autocrats to take over? Because decrees are so much easier to comply with than negotiating real change. No. We do what Americans do, real Americans. What do we do when there's a problem? We fucking fix it. Lately, as through most documented history, the only way to fix it now is in our communities. We just saw a bittersweet reminder of this with the 2024 hurricane damage on our southeast coast. Country boys and girls pulling up to drag railroad ties across temporary bridges for supplies. A green composting friend bringing neighbors fresh fruit and vegetables while refrigeration was still out. We Americans get shit done, even when the government is old, clunky, slow, underfunded, and divided. Why do we need a political party or two to chastise us or for complaining about actual issues when they fail to prepare for those issues or make mistakes? Especially when those running for president raise literal billions just to get elected during the same time period. So today, 8 years later, I've made a few decisions. I'm done feeling guilty about the death of the Democratic and Republican parties. As with any relative after they've died, they have played a role in our story, but it is clear that they cannot any longer. Nope. Today I am rededicating my work to those that deserve it, our kids. Because yesterday and today and tomorrow, our kids are scared. They have no say in the future we are creating for them, at least not right now. I'm going to go back to work, trying to solve problems within our broken system and highlighting the ways that we can improve them. I'm going to do that at least in my free time with Sunshine Strategies. And if you would like to join me on this journey, you can sign up on our website. It's clear that a part of the mission of what I'm doing here And empowering communities to support families is going to have to include a parent component. I'm also rededicating myself to identifying what it means when we say we're American. So far for me, being American means never stopping the fight to be more just, equitable, and productive for all Americans, regardless of how they got here or who they are. And I hope you all are ready to raise a little hell, because these next few years, we're all going to have to. From showing up at a school board meeting to running for Congress, being an American is going to have to include showing up, asking questions, and fixing the damn thing. Now, I know I'm pretty sure that I'm an American, and I hope that you are too. Again, thank you so much for listening to Sunshine Strategies Radio today. And if you'd like to support the work we do, you can make a donation at sunshinestrategies.org or become a friend of the Wanderer over on our Patreon. And as I sign off today, I want to leave you with a quote. It is probably my favorite quote and the one that I repeated to myself the day that I lost my first election. Not from Abraham Lincoln, but rather from the wise and flawed Teddy Roosevelt. It is not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles, or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes up short again and again, because there is no effort without error and shortcoming. But who does actually strive to do the deeds? Who knows great enthusiasms, the great devotions, who spends himself in a worthy cause, who at the best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who at the worst, if he fails, at least fails while daring greatly, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who neither know victory nor defeat. Stay safe and talk soon.